following segment is presented in partnership with Future 42. Turn your frustration into action at future42.org. I did not get a chance to discuss this on the Friday show because it actually dropped after I got done taping. But hallelujah, something to celebrate in Olympia just happened. So we have been railing for a year about the really misguided police pursuit law that was passed by the majority party in Olympia back in 2021. And it drastically limited when police could pursue suspects. It led to thousands of people just fleeing traffic stops, a degradation of law and order, a degradation of public safety. And to me, going into this legislative session, I was really skeptical that they would fix it. You know, Democrats made a lot of promises about public safety leading up to the November election, but then in December, I didn't see a single bill from Democrats that had been pre-filed ahead of the session to fix the pursuit law. And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. You have to prioritize that this session. And then on Friday, we find out there were two bills dropped, one in the House, one in the Senate, and they are both bipartisan. You know, I love a good bipartisan bill. And they would essentially revert the pursuit law back to how it was in a lot of ways. And they would return the decision-making to individual officers to rely on their judgment and their training to decide whether pursuing a suspect is in the best interest of public safety. And that's what makes sense. And so I was so pleased to see. And I really think, as much as I rail on some of the decisions made by lawmakers, and criticism is important, I've said positive reinforcement is also important. So when you push for something, criticize all of that, and then you see a positive outcome from that, positive reinforcement is so, so important for elected leaders. And so that's why I wanted to discuss this today, because I want to make sure we're not just complaining, we're also celebrating little wins. So really quickly, I'm going to do an explainer on what these bills do, because they're matching, so they do the same thing. So the law as it read in 2021, and what was so problematic about it, is it did not allow a vehicular pursuit unless there was probable cause to believe that a person in the vehicle had committed or was committing a violent offense or sex offense, or an escape, or there was reasonable suspicion that the person in the vehicle committed was driving under the influence. And so it really limited the situations where officers could chase someone. And it set this bar at probable cause for violent offenses, which is a really high bar to meet in the moment. So what the change would do is it would really simplify things. I'm going to read it to you. The new bills would change the law to this. A peace officer may not conduct a vehicular pursuit unless there is reasonable suspicion to believe that a person in the vehicle has committed or is committing a criminal offense, and the safety risks of failing to apprehend or identify the person are considered to be greater than the safety risks of the vehicular pursuit under the circumstances. So that is much simpler. It just says criminal offense. It doesn't specify what kind of offense it has to be. And it just says, is the risk greater if you pursue, or is the risk greater to the public if you don't pursue? And that person takes off into the community. The two bills, by the way, if you want their numbers, House Bill 1363 and Senate Bill 5352. So it's really promising to me that these have been brought forth on a bipartisan basis. Now, there were Republicans who in December pre-filed bills just like this, but they're in the minority party, and so, Democrats weren't going to move those. But now that there's Democrat names on them, that's very helpful because it makes it much more politically palatable for leadership to be able to say, okay, this is a priority of ours. See, we're going to fix this. But here's the thing, and here's where I need help from all of you. The people who are going to decide whether these bills are prioritized and whether they move are the chairs of the Senate Law and Justice Committee and the House Public Safety Committee. That is Senator Manka Dhingra, a Democrat, and Representative Roger Goodman, a Democrat. And so a really good thing for you guys to do today is to email both of them and to, in a very polite way, tell them why it's important to you that these two bills move forward past their committees. So the email for Senator Manka Dhingra is Manka, M-A-N-K-A .Dhingra, D-H-I-N-G-R-A @ledge.wa.gov. And I have these on my Patreon page, by the way. Representative Roger Goodman, his email is roger.goodman at ledge.wa.gov. So reach out to them if you've got some time today. These things matter. It's not enough, like I said, just to complain about things that are going on. We have to take action. And when thousands and thousands of people call and email, that does make a difference. Absolutely. We need to take these matters into our own hands. So email both of them. And also, it doesn't hurt to contact your directly elected legislators for your district. You can actually do that at future42.org. They have a little district finder where you can plug in your address and see who your representatives are, who your senator is, and that's a really good thing to always have so that if there's any bills you want to email them about or let them know your opinion on, you can find their information there. The previous segment was brought to you in partnership with Future 42. Turn your frustration into action at future42.org.